Hey guys, William Dawes here, back from Myrtle Beach. Wanted to dive into this question that I had multiple emails about before I left regarding how to win multiple offer situations. This is normally done at a real estate office where I've got a whiteboard. Since I don't have one here, I'm just going to blow through the content, hope that you can take notes and gather all of this. So this is a nationwide phenomenon. Everybody is dealing with this situation, which is multiple offers. Every house is a Shark Tank. Every single house has multiple offers if it's priced right? So where I like to begin is addressing one of the major challenges that these real estate agents have when they are dealing with multiple offers. And the primary challenge is new agents. You can't be positive that that agent representing the seller is going to properly present the offer that you're giving. So I'm going to go through a couple tactics as we go through the how to win to make sure that you reduce the complexity of your offer down to an understandable level so that it can be properly presented to a seller. Number one, easiest thing that we have heard when we're in a multiple offer situation, of course, is go above asking price, right? Pretty easy answer. Start off very easy with that one. Second, after going above asking price, is to build into your offer an escalation clause. If you don't know what an escalation clause is, look it up. Third is a more interesting one, which is offer a faster closing. So if all the offers being submitted have a 30-day contract closing, encourage your realtor to do a 20-day closing or a 25-day closing. Now, anybody can do a 20 or 25-day closing, and the listing agent's going to know that. So the way to make this even more believable is to tack on a per diem. 20-day closing, buyer to pay $100 a day for every day we go beyond 20 days. All of a sudden, the seller knows you're being serious, that you intend to close this loan within the allotted time. You can piggyback that faster closing with a longer date of possession. So it's possible that you could do a 20-day closing, but the seller may be like, whoa, I don't want to get out of this house that fast. So you do the 20-day closing and you offer them 30 days for possession. So you delay occupancy for 30 days after you close the loan. That's a big one in my market right now. A lot of people want that fast closing. They want to get their money, but they don't want to be out of the house that fast. So you offer that delayed occupancy. Now, this is where it gets complicated, and I love asking this question. And the question is, if we have a property that is pushing up against the appraised value, and the listing agent is not sure, or the buyer's agent is not sure that the home is going to appraise for more than the asking price, then you don't really want to go above the asking price, or at least not that much more above the asking price. And so the question is, and I asked a whole room of real estate agents this question, and it was amazing how many of them were stumped. How do you get the seller more money without increasing the price? How do you get the seller more money without increasing the price? The answer to this is, of course, have the buyer pay some of the things that may customarily be paid by the seller. So if in your market the seller normally pays the transfer tax or the conveyance tax, offer for the buyer to pay the conveyance tax. If in your market the settlement fee from the title company is normally split between the buyer and seller, don't split that fee, put that fee all on the buyer's side. If the owner's title insurance policy is normally split between the buyer and seller, put that owner's title insurance policy all on the buyer's side. Now, again, understanding that we might be dealing with new realtors here, the challenge is that new realtor may not ever go to the second page of the contract where most of this is listed in checkmark and may not present properly to the seller that this means they're going to get more money. And so a way around this is on page 1 of your contract, you make your offer, you don't go above asking, and you write in these terms: the buyer will pay up to $5,000 of the seller's fees in the contract. So rather than counting on the listing agent to properly present that contract, pointing out what is and isn't being paid by the seller, you just point it all out on page 1. Buyer agrees to pay seller's fees. What a reversal this is from prior years where normally the seller is helping the buyer, right? Now you have a buyer who's offering to help the seller. The challenge in this is a couple things. Number one, the buyer can't pay fees that don't exist. So you have to be able to quantify when the buyer is making this offer and you're moving fees onto our LE, onto the buyer's side. There've got to be fees to put there. If you are short on fees, then there's one more thing you can do, and that is to waive the tax proration. So if the seller is going to pay up to 6 months of taxes through closing and the buyer is going to get a 6-month tax credit for that, buddy, you waive that tax proration, all of a sudden the seller is getting more money. So that wouldn't be buyer to pay seller's fees, right? That would be listed as on page 1 is buyer agrees to waive seller's tax proration. Another way to get the seller more money without increasing the price. Couple other tactics that are being used. We all know about these. They're pretty easy. Number 1, have the buyer write a letter to the seller. This is my grandma's home. It's a family home. And I would like to get it back into my family, tugging on the heartstrings, right? And lastly, you or I, as the loan officer, can write a letter to the seller. So when you're doing that, you can include with your pre-approval letter a letter to the seller that indicates who you are, that indicates why you know this buyer is eligible, that gives them links to your reviews where they can go read reviews about you. The goal in all of this, again, is in a multiple offer situation, the seller is only considering 2 key things: the quality of the offer, how much money are they going to get, and the quality of the pre-approval. Is it a lender who's going to close the loan? So all things being considered, if all the offers are for the same dollar amount, that listing agent and that seller, they're immediately going to the pre-approval. Is this pre-approval issued by a lender that is going to close the loan? And if they don't know who you are, having that special note to the seller included with your pre-approval that tells them who you are and gives them where they can go to read reviews about you is yet another way that you can help your borrower's offer be moved up in the stack for consideration in a multiple offer situation. So I'm going to go back through those very quickly. Struggle is, of course, new agents. Going above asking price is, of course, what a lot of people are doing right now, building in escalation clauses into your contract, and then offering to pay the seller's fees or waiving the tax proration and doing your special note to the seller from the buyer and or a special note to the seller from you, the loan officer. Hope you guys find this helpful. Again, it's a ton of information. Having a whiteboard where you can do this review, asking very pertinent questions, giving the room time to ponder and answer those questions is a critical part of this. I had 30-year agents stumped, asking them how to get the seller more money without increasing the price. Really fun, really impactful. Really hope that this gets you guys in the door with new real estate agents and companies. Kudos. Hope you guys are all having a great fourth quarter. Bye-bye.